It's, the thing that's good about using an eyebrow pencil is that it can rub off really easily, so it's not like this Pro Air paint stuff that is,
Yeah.
once you get this on, it's not that easy to take this off.
Gotcha.
So it's way more forgiving. The eyebrow pencil is way more forgiving than the liquid paint.
Awesome. So we're live. Welcome back to our channel. We are Midnight
welcome.
Beauties. Yes, we're Midnight Beauties. I'm Tiffany Beth.
I'm Melissa Ann, and welcome to Midnight Beauties.
Yes, and we are so excited because we have an awesome guest to bring to you today. He is one of my absolute favorites. I am totally fanning out and gushing. I'm not even hide it because I'm just that excited. I have all day, I've been like, what time is it? What time is it? I just want my workday to end.
We've been texting back and forth. Oh my gosh, it's almost time. It's almost time.
So we're just so excited. So if everybody is really familiar, which if you're not, then I don't know where you've been living, like under a rock or something, or in a different country. But Club Kids were the group of the 90s. It was widespread. It was swept all over the world. People, creative young people from all over came and created these amazing avant-garde looks that they used everything and anything under the sun, from makeup to even garbage was mentioned and things like that. And they wore it and they were fabulous. They were fabulous. And I'm so excited. We have one of the icons. And
I feel like you were like one of the founders, one of the pioneers of the Club Kid scene.
Well, I was definitely there in the beginning, so I guess you could say I was one of the beginners of it. Yeah.
So before we get into, because we have a lot of questions, and I figured we could do the makeup with the questions. We're actually going to be doing a very iconic look of his. Just disclaimer, he did send us videos. Only step 1, 4, 5, and 6 could download, but we'll be going through it, and whatever we can get done is great. Whatever, and we can talk while the videos are going on. But I want to show. Okay, so we're very excited. So we're going to go ahead. Do you want us to show the video, Ernie, first?
No, I think that what you should show first is the picture, just so people can see the what we're going for.
Yep.
Well, it's not going to let me. All right, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulty because it's not allowing me to show the picture. So this is what I'm going to do, and you're going to have to bear with me, y'all. It is a fabulous picture, so I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to pull it up on my phone, and I'm going to show everybody via that because...
So while you're looking for the photo, I'll just explain the look to the audience.
Sounds good.
So basically, I mean, you're introduced this show with, talking about the Club Kids in the 90s, but, there still are Club Kids. And in New York City, there are still lots of people that still go out and that serve looks. Maybe they don't necessarily call themselves Club Kids anymore, but it's still happening. And doesn't just happen in New York, it's happening all over the world. So especially if you follow Instagram, you'll see that Club Kid, the hashtag Club Kid is a very common and frequently hashtagged term, and there's amazing people that are doing looks around the world. So this is a look that I just kind of thought up while I was in COVID lockdown, and I'm calling it my COVID-19 witch doctor look because it's like a witchy dark look, and the whole look was designed around a dress that I found at either a Goodwill or a Salvation Army in Sacramento, California, when I was there for Christmas visiting my family. And often that happens when I'm out shopping for outfits. I'll find something that's really colorful or distinct, and then I'll make the makeup match the outfit.
It inspires you.
Yeah, so that's usually how the makeup comes about. And so that's how the look came about in this case. And I already had the chicken head bone headband. So it just happened to be lying around the house. And no, it's something that I also make jewelry. So, a lot of headbands. So I wanted like a witch doctor look to go with it. So that's how that came about.
That's what I was going to ask you to explain the chicken bone, because I'm like, I don't have one of those in my house, but okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Liz.
No, I didn't have one either. So I have a string of skull lights. So I figured I could like wrap it around and I don't know. We'll see.
Yes,
See how it comes together.
Yeah, you could definitely do that, or you could use skull and crossbones because that would work really well too. So if you had like an iron-on patch of skull and crossbones, you could do that. I'll show you an example that's actually on my wall. Let me just get up and get it.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, awesome. So while he's doing that, so creative, and I'm so glad to know that, like, obviously from the pictures on Fountain TV, they're still going. So it's good to know about that.
So, this is a patch, like a decorative patch.
Oh, that's
I got
awesome.
in a trimming store. And basically, it used to have netting around it. So what I did with this patch is that I cut all the extra netting off of it so that you only see the beads and the sequins. And then I sewed it onto a chain. This is a black plastic chain. And then there's an elastic in the back, so you can just easily put it on your head like this.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
And then you've got the skull and crossbones.
Oh, I love that.
So if you don't,
do you sell the jewelry?
I don't sell it yet, but I'm gonna start like an Etsy store and start selling it because it's all piling up and.
Oh,
and
you should.
And I don't really want it. Like usually after I wear it once or twice, I'm done with it. So, but it seems ridiculous to throw it out, and so I think I'm just going to start selling the used pieces, and I'll probably sell some of the new pieces too that I'm making. So there'll be used and new pieces.
Awesome.
Well, let us know when you do it because we'll definitely buy some for sure.
And then thank you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. We'll also advertise for it too if you'd like. We're all about cross promotion.
So you don't need to have the chicken skull. You can use other things.
That's good to know. If you don't have it, just lying around. And hopefully there isn't a lot of other skulls lying around other people's houses. That could be questionable. I'm just saying. Yeah,
the only skull in my house is the chicken skull. I mean, I was at a goth festival and they were selling stuff, and there was a person there that was selling animal bones. And so they were selling different kinds of skulls, and I just thought that the chicken skull was really cool.
That is cool. Well, we do events a lot and like paranormal and horror, and you often find oddity stuff like that a lot.
Right,
so
yeah.
It's not like super unusual, honestly speaking. It's not. No. It also, I guess, depends on what you do for your life as well.
Yeah, you can practically buy it at Hot Topic.
That's true.
When it's open after COVID-19.
Yes. After all released from quarantine. Oh my God. All right. So we're going to show the first video. Here we go. And that is you. So
it's just like basically I'm drawing the line on my face. I put a dot on the top of my nose where I want the point to be, and then I put 2 dots on the side of my nose, and then I put 2 more dots over by my ears that would make a straight line from the dots on my nose to my ears, and I trace that out with like a black Maybelline eyebrow pencil. It's much easier to do that than trying to paint a line, because it's just trust me on that. It's much easier. Even painters, when they paint, like they often will trace out what they're going to paint before they start painting.
Oh,
yeah.
Hi, everybody. 1 second.
Yeah, I feel like if I didn't trace it out, if I use that mirror.
I think we've lost them, unfortunately.
No, I'm here. I still hear you.
This happens sometimes. One moment.
No, I still hear you.
One moment.
I still hear you too.
Yeah, she can't hear us.
So yeah, like basically it's as simple as that. Once you get that line right with the eyebrow pencil, then it's not going to be hard painting on top of that.
Oh, maybe we lost her. I don't know where she went.
Will she be able to come back in?
I hope so, because she's the one that's controlling it on that end.
Okay. Wow.
I hope so. So I drew it up here, the little circle up there, and then the one down there, and then over to the side. I don't think that I could do it like what you said. I don't think I could do it with the paint by itself. I think that would be easier to trace it out first.
Yeah, it is. You'll struggle if you're just doing with paint.
So I bought a pen from the dollar store, a eyeliner. So that's what I'm going to use.
Okay.
And I am using Lancome Le Crayon in Black Ebony.
Excellent. So I do apologize. We had some technical difficulty. It did freeze a little bit. I do also want to just give a disclaimer. We're starting to get some inclement weather. That might be affecting the stream as well.
We could still hear you. We just couldn't see you.
Oh, good. Did you hear me say fuck my life? Because I did.
Oh, yeah. No, did not hear that.
Okay, so I'm going to follow what Mr. Ernie said.
Now, don't worry when you're drawing this out. You know, obviously your little point on your nose where you want it to be very sharp. Don't worry if it doesn't look that sharp with the eyebrow pencil, because once you start painting, you can make that line sharp. And the trick of making that line up there on your nose sharp is that you're going to use some kind of liquid eyeliner, say like these very fine liquid eyeliner brushes from e.l.f. It allows you to make a very, very fine point on your nose.
Oh, I feel so like tribal.
Well, it's a tribal look for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. I think it's great. Oh boy. I also like the fact that there's really no way you can really mess it up, because you're going to go over it with the paint. So even if your lines aren't perfect, you're going to fill them in anyway.
Right. I mean, the whole point of this is you're just tracing out the line so that you're not eyeballing a straight line while you're holding a paintbrush, because that's really hard to do. Like you want to just trace it out. It's going to be so much easier.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I'm afraid it might do that again so we can edit the videos. Do you just want to take us through the next step? Just talk us through the next step.
All right. So once you've traced that out, what you need is some type of black paint. So I use two different types of black paint for painting my face. The type that I prefer is that I've recently started using is this hybrid Pro Air black liquid paint. Now this is for airbrushes, and I do have an airbrush, but I like to use this with brushes, just regular brushes, because this dries really fast. And prior to using this, I used to use Ben Nye, the cake, and and I'll show you what it looks like. It's this Ben Nye color cake.
Okay.
It comes in a lot of different colors, and it's water soluble. It's a good paint, but there's a couple of reasons why I don't like it for this particular look. And this kind of dries a little. The Ben Nye dries a little shiny, whereas this hybrid Pro Air dries a little more matte. And this Pro Air hybrid Pro Air paint, once it's on your face, it really doesn't come off. Like you really have to use oil and soap and cream to get it off.
It's a good night for out dancing.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it running. Like this is a little runnier, and this will stay sticky on your face. So that's why I prefer the liquid air. And the only thing is that this stuff can really irritate your eyes because it has alcohol in it. So
Gotcha.
when you're painting, you're going to have these alcohol fumes going into your eyes, because you might have seen me on the video. I was fanning my face.
Yeah.
Because it will make your eyes water a little bit because it's strong. Whereas the Ben Nye stuff doesn't have any noxious fumes. You could paint that. You could paint really close to your eyes, and it won't make your eyes water or squint. And this, even like near your nose, this does not smell good either. So just a warning.
We got the Maron. We got that in that.
We have XFX makeup.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was familiar with it. I've used it before, but I'd like to get some of that other one that you said for the airbrush to try that.
Yeah, that would be
it comes in very small. I think I bought it on facepaint.com, and it comes in smaller sizes. This is the large size.
Oh.
They have I think this one was maybe $20 or $25. I can't remember, but they have smaller sizes that are less expensive if you just want to experiment with it.
So do you recommend using a larger brush like that for this part, or a smaller one?
Okay, so now that you've got the paint out, I recommend using two different kinds of brushes. So for painting the line, for tracing that line that you've drawn, you're going to use like a very fine brush. It looks like this. It has a very, very fine tip. You would buy this type of brush. This is not a makeup brush. This is a brush that I bought at an art store. So it's basically a brush that you would use for watercoloring or painting. And that's what you would use to trace out the line, just to make sure you have like a really nice clean line. And then once you've created that line, that border of where you're going to paint, then I would switch to a larger tip paintbrush.
Okay.
Like this is an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. So it has a fairly wide brush, and that's just for filling in the whole white space, of your face where you just need to cover it up really quickly.
If you put this in your nostril, it does smell weird. Don't put it in your nostril.
No. You have to put it in. You have to put it in the bottom of your nostril a little bit just to hide that part of your flesh. But if it goes inside your nostril, it's alcohol. It smells terrible.
And it stings a little bit, to be fair.
It does. It's
You
noxious.
have sensitive skin, Tiffany.
I do. Which reminds me, on our next show, we will be going over the ingredients of our last foundation, because it literally burnt my face. And I had tomato skin for a couple of days, and it felt like a sunburn. So next show, we will be going over that.
Well, something that everybody should do whenever you buy new makeup, before you put it all over your face, you should always just put it on a little patch of your skin just to see how you react to it.
You know what? Lesson learned, and I probably should have had that advice from you a long time ago, Heather. I would have saved my skin. Speaking of which, your skin is amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What type of routine do you use to keep such really clear complexion?
Well, I think some of it is genetics, and because my parents are very youthful. But ever since the 90s, I've been using moisturizer with 30 SPF for the daytime.
Yeah.
And so, really, you should just always use sunblock, like no matter what season it is. I use it every day of the year. And I think that's made a big difference. And then at night, I'll just wash my face and then use a toner or whatever. And then I'll put either night cream or some kind of moisturizer. A lot of times it's a gel moisturizer. I don't use...
That's what I use, a gel moisturizer.
I don't use heavy moisturizers at night like I do in the daytime. The moisturizers with the 30 SPF, they tend to be kind of oily and greasy. And, which if you don't like having shiny or greasy skin, then it's not desirable. But I kind of don't care if my face looks shiny. So I'd rather have shiny, nice skin than
I've been
matte,
working from home
dry skin.
I've been working from home most days, so I usually pretty much go without any makeup and just moisturize.
That's what I've been doing as well. Is there any specific products you would recommend for people to use?
Well, for daytime, I've really liked the Neutrogena for Men moisturizer. I think it used to come in 30 SPF. Now I think it only comes in 15 SPF. So I don't know if they discontinued the 30 SPF. So I kind of stopped using it. And a friend of mine gave me some Elizabeth Arden day moisturizer that has 30 SPF in it. So that's what I've been using right now. But that tends to be a little oily, greasy. So if you don't like oily, greasy, it might not be for you. But I really liked the Neutrogena for Men day moisturizer with 30 SPF. I'm not sure if it's been discontinued, but if it is, I'm really sorry.
You know what that happens though? I think sometimes when we really like a product, all of a sudden, corporate America's like, nope, you can't have that anymore. We're going to take that away.
Right, well, maybe not enough people bought it. Who knows? That
is possible. I feel like a piece of art, like I'm painting a piece of art. This is great.
Your face is your canvas.
It is. Is this what you feel like when you do your makeup? Like you feel like a piece of art, like you're creating, an artistic piece.
Yeah, you're creating a drawing. Now remember, when you're doing around your lips, like the Club Kid style, often lips were rectangular, so they weren't so try to leave like a rectangle around your lips. It's okay to have like straight lines, because then you could just fill that in with lipstick.
Perfect.
Now you have to recall that the Club Kid style of lipstick was often very clownish.
Like I will say I was kind of surprised you didn't choose a lipstick that went like this, and then kind of make your own lips on your lips, because that was also kind of a look, making like new lips around your lips. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, that was another style.
Well, there was many. There was so many, and they were so amazing. Like I look back at the footage and I can't imagine, because you guys were up all night pretty much. I can't imagine that you slept, because these looks must have taken hours, and then you were at the club for hours.
Yeah, some of them they did, and it was grueling. Like, I mean, we were young, so we had a lot of energy, but yes, because I would work at the club in the daytime too. So sometimes I would get to the club around noon or 1 o'clock, and we would be there till 6 or 7. Then we would rush home and quickly eat, and then spend a couple of hours putting on makeup, and then we'd have to go back to the club around 10 or 10:30 or 11, and then be there till 5. And so it could be really grueling, yes.
Now I have to ask, and just because, I followed you for so long, you were Claire the Clucky Chicken. Now, did you do I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was, yes.
Now, would you still wear a look and put on that costume, and then when you were done, you would go do your thing? Or if you wore that night, that was all you wore?
Usually I had a look underneath the chicken costume, or if it wasn't underneath the chicken costume, it would be in the dressing room. So because that chicken suit was really, really hot, and I would sweat profusely. So I couldn't wear makeup when I was doing the chicken. I would usually have like a face harness or some kind of mask or something on my face that I could just put on, versus makeup that would just melt right off my face.
That makes a lot of sense. I'm asking all these questions because I've watched all of your footage, and I'm just like, how did he pull that off? God bless him. Holy bananas. And how did you become a club kid? Like, where did that?
I was just going to ask that, doing the research and everything, like, how did you come about finding that lifestyle?
It was something that, for me, I had been doing for years prior to the emergence of the Club Kids. So when I was in college in the early 80s, I was very interested in post-punk music from England. And a lot of that involved dressing up in outrageous looks. And it was the beginning of the goth scene at that time, where people wore, really, which at that time were considered really outrageous looks. And so I was copying those looks and doing those looks in Philadelphia, where I went to college. And so by the time I moved to New York, I had already been like dressing up and putting on makeup and doing looks for at least 4 years that I was in college. So how I got into the club kid scene is that kind of emerged around 1987 in the basement of the tunnel. And I had heard that there was this really fun party going on with lots of people dressing up in the basement of tunnel. So I went to it, and that was the party that this old friend of mine, Michael Alec, was doing. And I loved it. And I went to that party I think it was on Tuesday or Wednesday nights. And I just started going to that party. And that's how I met the other club kids. And then that's where the owner of that club, or the director of that club, started calling us club kids, because that's how he referred to us. And that name just kind of stuck.
Rudolph. Wasn't that Rudolph?
Yeah, Rudolph was the one who coined that term, club kids. And that's how he referred to us. And because we didn't really call ourselves that.
Awesome.
We didn't really have a name for what we were doing. I mean, I didn't really have a name for what I was doing. I thought I was doing, I don't know, like I didn't even think I was doing drag. I was
just something spirited and free.
Just something that inspired you and you enjoyed doing.
Yeah, I thought I was, if anything, I thought I was gender bending, or I would have called myself a gender bender or a gender fucker. Those are the terms that I might have used back then.
That's awesome.
Prior to the emergence of the term club kid.
Well, that's awesome. I always wondered, because, it just kind of like one day just the scene appeared. And as you said and brought to our attention, it's still continuing. So that's really cool. All right. What's the next step?
All right. So doesn't take that long to do this, right?
It really doesn't.
So the next step is the clown white. You have to wait. First, you have to wait for that to dry. So I don't know is the black dry? Oh, and I also want to mention, I brought this up earlier before the show started, that, we're like in a time right now where people are really racially sensitive. So be careful when you're doing this look, because some people could interpret it as blackface, which would then be very offensive to some individuals. So if somebody were to say that to me, like, you're doing blackface, I mean, my answer would be, no, I'm not doing it, because I feel that I'm doing a witch doctor look. It's like a clown look. It's not all over my face, and it goes with the dress that I have. So it wasn't really. That's not how it's intended to be perceived. And I honestly,
when I saw the picture, that thought never crossed my mind. I thought it was an awesome witch doctor costume, and especially when you said, it was your COVID-19 related, which I feel like everybody can relate to this look, because most of them are affected in some way or another from that.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and also this look is really versatile. Like, you could take this and do anything with it.
Yes, you could. And you could do it in any color.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I love it. I think how you were inspired to do it's great. So, but thank you for clearing that up. I think that's really awesome and culturally empathetic of you. And not a lot of people, but again, we just love everybody. So that was not what crossed our mind at all.
Well, it's funny because somebody brought it up to me once when I had a different look where, I mean, I have lots of looks where there will be like big patches of black on my face. And someone said, oh, you should be careful because you might be accused of doing blackface. And I didn't think that I've never thought I was doing blackface. And to me, if anything, I'm doing clown face, not blackface.
1,000%. Should we move on to step 2?
Sure.
My face is dry. Is your face dry, Alyssa?
Yeah, it's pretty more or less.
Okay. So now that you are done with the black and that it's dry, you need to take another brush and sorry, my phone's ringing. So now you need to take another brush. Now this brush is an e.l.f. angled brush. So I'm just holding it up so you can see it. Okay. It kind of has an angle. It's a little skinny. And this is what I'm using for the white.
Perfect.
Now, the white, you can start wherever you want. You can start on your eyebrows or you can start on the face. I would start on the eyebrows. And the reason I would say start with your eyebrows is because when you're putting the white onto the black part of your face, a little bit of the black will smudge onto the brush, and you don't want that black on your eyebrows. You want as pure a white as possible on your eyebrows. And what you're doing on your eyebrow is you're drawing a rectangle, a long rectangle. You're not shaping it. It's just blunt and geometric. So you just basically envision a very long, skinny rectangle that is covering up the hair of your eyebrows.
Did I mention I failed shapes in school?
One of the things that I like in doing makeup for myself, I like shapes. I like geometric shapes because they're not natural, and the face is not straight lines and angles. So I like painting straight lines and angles.
Not bad. I like that. So do you ever just like off a whim, like just dress up and because you think of a look and you're like, I'm going to make that happen right now. And you kind of put it in your memory bank for a party or a time that you can use it?
Yes. What I'll do, I call that a test run. So especially if I've gone to the thrift store, if I've acquired a new outfit or a new garment that I think I could build a look around, then I'll do the dry run. I'll take the garment and then I'll match it with all the other stuff that I want to match it with, and then I'll do the makeup and hair to see if it works. And then based on what the dry run results are, I might change the makeup or I might change the garments.
So I have to ask because, the creativity of not just the club kids, but of yourself, it's very loose. So in your mind, what wouldn't work? Like, what would be like, oh, that's not working for me? Like, what's your criteria of what it's working or not?
Okay. Well, there are a lot of criteria. So for the garments and clothing, obviously, does this make my body look attractive? So, I mean, everybody wants to be attractive, even though you might argue that I'm dressing up like a clown or very freaky. To me, it's always very, I'm still going for a form of beauty, which maybe people might not perceive that to be beauty, but I am aspiring to beauty.
I think so.
So yeah, so like your body has to look good. Your outfit can't make you look fat or dowdy, or it can't be too loose and frumpy. So those are all things that I look for. A lot of the clothes that I wear, I mean, I'm blessed with a very slim physique, so I don't often look fat in clothes. That's not an issue for me. So yeah, but you want something that works with your body. And then for the makeup, you want something that is going to pop in a nightclub. So it's when you're putting on the makeup, you always have to remember that everyone's going to see it in semi-darkness or in situations where it's going to be semi-dark and all of a sudden there's going to be like flashing lights or strobe lights or colored lights hitting you. So I often will put on the makeup and then I'll go into my living room and then turn off the lights and then maybe turn on a disco light, like that's multicolor, that's flashing colors on the wall, just so that I can see what it's going to look like in that type of color. So that's the usefulness of the dry run. And so yeah, like for makeup, if makeup makes me look, if my face, I have a long face, so if makeup makes my face look longer than I want it to look, then I won't do that. I'll try to put more horizontal lines on my face so that it doesn't look so long. And I have I mean, I'm an older man, so I'm 57. So some makeup might make my eyes look baggy or more wrinkled. So I won't, if I decide that a style of makeup does that, I won't wear it.
Well, you certainly don't look that age. That's for
No,
sure.
I was just gonna say you don't look that age at all.
Thank you.
I just had a question. So, a lot of celebrities out there have taken inspiration from the Club Kid looks. Have you ever had the opportunity to like glam somebody in a Club Kid look, like a famous person?
No, I haven't. Like the closest I came to that was one of the people that worked for Prince.
Okay.
Once asked me to submit designs for outfits.
Wow.
So I submitted a bunch of designs, but then they never called me back. So I don't know if that meant that they just took the designs and had somebody else make the clothes, or that they didn't like my designs and didn't want me to make anything for Prince. So, I never really like followed it up, but that's probably the closest I came to glamming someone up. But some of the Club Kids were makeup artists. So there were two Club Kids in particular, Kabuki Starshine and Donald Simrock, who were professional makeup artists. And they went on to be very successful makeup artists. And especially Kabuki has done all kinds of famous people like Rihanna and anybody you can imagine. Like one of the Club Kids became a very successful designer, Zaldi Goko. So he used to design the Lamb line for Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
And he designs a lot of RuPaul's gowns and her corsets.
Wow.
So he's done a lot of glamming up of celebrities. So that's why you see the Club Kid style on people like Lady Gaga or on Rihanna or other famous stars, is because often the stylists or the makeup artists were people that were involved in the Club Kid scene or that went to the clubs at the same time that the Club Kids did. And they just kind of remember the styles, and, those styles influenced them.
If you could get the chance to work with somebody, is there one particular celebrity you'd want to work with?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I like, well, let me put it this way, that in terms of musicians or musical performers, the really famous performers that are known for having, say, wild looks, like, say, Lady Gaga, I don't necessarily like her music. So I'm not, although I like the looks that she does, I don't like the music. So I'm not really, consequently, I'm not really into Lady Gaga because I don't really like her music. So if I had to pick artists, it would probably be the artists whose music I like. And like the types of artists whose music that I like tend to be in the dark wave or techno scene. So there are artists that, like, say, Boy Harsher, who is kind of that dark wave, dark disco sound. I would totally do them because I don't think that they have like really good stage looks. So if I had the chance, I would want to glam them up because I think their music is really cool, but their fashion sense, especially the guy's fashion sense, is not good at all. It's like really boring. So I would want to do them, or I would want to do this guy Contravoid, who also I think does really good music, but I think his stage style isn't that great. So I would want to do him. Or I also love this dark wave group called She Passed Away. So maybe I'd want to do them. They're kind of gothy and dark wave. It's like the artists that I would want to do are probably artists that people would associate with goth or dark wave or dark disco.
Well, that's awesome. Should we go to step 3?
Sure.
Okay, so you started step 3, which was to do your eyebrows. Right. So now with that same brush that you just applied the white to your eyebrows, you're now taking that brush and you're loading it up with the white, and using the narrow side of the brush. So like instead of holding it horizontally, you're holding it vertically so that you can get like a sharp line. you take that and you just are flicking it down your face like this. And try to do it really fast. Like the faster you do it, the better it looks. When I say flick, I really do mean like flick. And for the white, I mean, I'm using Ben Nye Clown White, which I think works well. But I'm a big fan of the Kryolan Clown White. I think that's.
Oh yeah, I like the Kryolan.
Yeah, that's really good too. So you can use one or the other. I think the Kryolan Clown White is whiter than the Ben Nye Clown White.
So in New York City, do you have like stores that I know there's Patricia Fields? Do you still have stores like that what's the word I'm looking for? Accommodate like a Club Kids type of scene and look where you can just go pick this stuff up, or do you order it online?
Or do you make it?
There are stores that still sell that kind of stuff, but Patricia Field is closed. It doesn't exist anymore. I mean, I think it exists online, but it's not a store anymore. So there was a store called I Want More in the Lower East Side that sold a lot of rock and roll and punk rock style clothes. So you could buy some Club Kid stuff there. Also, Trash and Vaudeville still exists. So you can buy wacky stuff there. Search and Destroy on St. Mark's Place still exists.
Oh,
so
really?
You can buy stuff there. But really, and then there's a store in Bushwick that is called, I can't remember the name of this. I think it's called House of LaRue. It's in the same space with this salon called Hello Beautiful. And they sell fun stuff there. But a lot of the stuff I've been buying online. If I'm going to buy something new, I've been buying it online. I love Bitch Fist. She makes fetish jewelry.
Ooh.
So her stuff is really fun. And I also like Dolls Kill. Like they have a lot of great clothes on. They do. Dolls Kill, and you know, a lot of their stuff is very Club Kid. Like the women's clothes, you know, it's pure Club Kid.
That's awesome.
I often don't buy a lot of stuff from Dolls Kill because I'm 6 feet tall and I have a size 38 chest, so I'm too big for most of the clothes on Dolls Kill, and my feet are too big for most of the shoes on Dolls Kill, so I can't really shop there. Like I'll buy one or few, I might buy accessories there, but yeah, like I have trouble buying new stuff. It's a lot of stuff doesn't fit me. Like the stuff made in China doesn't fit me. It's always too small.
I don't think that fits anybody.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Their sizes are not real sizes.
No, well, I think they're for Chinese. You know, they're for Chinese people, and Chinese people are just smaller than Western people.
Naturally.
I do still make my own clothes, but what I prefer doing is just going to thrift stores and just altering things. It's easier and faster. And I'll do that with clothes I buy online too. I'll buy stuff online and then I'll just customize it so it doesn't look like I just bought something online.
Well, that's cool. Now, did you teach yourself how to sew?
Yeah, I taught myself, and I went to Fashion Institute of Technology in the 80s soon after I moved to New York, and because I wanted to design clothes back then, and so I wanted to learn fashion design. So I did learn fashion design, and I learned how to sew and how to make patterns and all that.
That's really neat.
I always wish that I learned how to sew. I have my grandmother's sewing machine sitting here, and she knew how to sew, but never really. I can knit, crochet, but never. Maybe I'll go YouTube it and teach myself.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. I actually hate sewing, and which is why I'd rather just buy something on the internet and alter it to make it custom. So that, like I said, so that it doesn't look like you bought something on the internet.
That's a good. I wish I could do that, but if I alter it, I have to pay somebody to do it because sewing is not my forte. I almost sewed my hand to my sewing machine that I used in school. So yeah.
Did you say you almost sewed your cat to your sewing machine?
My hand
her hand. I was like, wait, what?
So when you're putting on these stripes on your face, you're going for like an asymmetry. So make sure that when you're doing the vertical stripes, but then when you're doing the horizontal, some of them should go to the right and some of them should go to the left. And you're not making like pure crosses. You might make X's if you want. Mine were vertical and horizontal slashes because the dress pattern that I have, or the print on the dress, it's horizontal and vertical. So I was matching that.
See, that's why I love this tutorial, because it gives people a different idea. Even if they don't want to do something specifically like this, they can take your look and be inspired by it and kind of vamp it to what they like. But this is like, I find it really interesting that you just kind of came up, like, were inspired and just like, this is what I'm going to do. That's really neat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been doing this for a really long time. I mean, I've been dressing up since the early 1980s. So a lot of what I do isn't necessarily new. It's what I've always done. And I'm taking all the different things that I've always done, and then I'm just recombining them in different ways to match usually the look that I'm going for, or the outfit that I have, or I still make a lot of facial accessories. So I make headbands, I'll make eye patches or mouth gags and stuff. So a lot of times my makeup is designed to go or accentuate the appliances that are on my face.
I find this so relaxing too. I mean, some people might find it like high anxiety, but I don't know. I just find it very relaxing.
Well, I'm glad you find it that way. Like, I know what you mean, and I find it relaxing too. And even when I'm getting ready to go out for a night, I'm usually pretty relaxed, and that's because I do a lot of dry runs for new looks or new outfits. So one of the beauties of doing dry runs is that when you're actually going out, you already know what you're wearing, so you're not tearing your closet apart trying to find stuff. You're not leaving your house with a mountain of clothes on the floor that you pulled out of your closet.
Oh yeah.
You didn't make a huge mess in the bathroom with all the makeup because you can't figure out what you want, because you already know what you want, and you already know which products you're going to use. So you can just put them out, and you could be the whole thing can be very relaxing, and it's still time consuming. It could still take 2 hours, but you're not stressed out by the time you're done with it, because you know what you want and you've already done it once. So you might have already made the mistakes that you would have made when you were doing the dry run.
Like, my eyebrows are really curved. I think next time I would make them more boxy.
Right. It's better to make them boxy for this. You want the geometry.
Yeah, I think next time I would, and you know what, this is awesome because you learn for things for not just this look, but other look, but I would probably take like a white eyeliner and probably, curve out my eyebrows. And then next time take the black eyeliner and do the square around my mouth. So I know that's a point of not to infringe on the square.
Mm-hmm.
Which is neat.
All right,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so are you both finished with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next step would be to do your eyes. So basically we're just doing a basic smoke out. And for the video that I sent you, I basically used the NYX Smoky Eye palette, which is kind of my go-to smoky eye palette. But of course you can use any smoky eye palette. So
what I'm going to use today is the Rebel Rhodes collection by Wet n Wild, courtesy of Melissa. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
All right, you want to walk us through this?
All right, so usually when I'm doing a smoky eye, I start with the lighter shade and I will cover like a bigger part of my eye. Now, when in the video that I sent you, I didn't put eyeshadow base on my face because I have a swollen eyelid. Mm-hmm. So I was trying not to put too much product around my eyes, but I would definitely put eyeshadow base around my eyes if I were going out.
So I have two different ones. I have a white eyeshadow base and like a skin color one. Which one do you recommend?
For this look, I would recommend the white one.
So I kind of already had makeup on before because I was in a training to teach diabetes class. So I kind of already have eyeliner and stuff on my eye.
Okay.
So we're going to go with it.
Sure. I mean, you don't need to. I mean, eyeshadow base. The reason I like eyeshadow base, and the reason it exists, is so that your eyeshadow 3 or 4 hours later will still look as good as it did when you put it on.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. I like we go over our BoxyCharm and stuff, and if you've seen any of our shows, and I'm a pretty vulgar lover. I like the pretty vulgar eye primer because it keeps for everything. And so I can't talk right now. I too like a good eyeshadow base, and I like pretty vulgar.
I just recently discovered P. Louise eyeshadow base, and I ordered them right from England, and I absolutely am obsessed with them. And they come in all different colors, and I was surprised because with COVID and everything going on, it took literally about a week to get to me. Wasn't bad, but I really like them.
So yeah, you don't have to wear the eyeshadow base right now since we're just doing a demonstration, but for sure, if you're going out with this, put it on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the show and walking us through this. This is so fun.
It is fun. So you're going to use a regular eyeshadow brush for this part. And when I'm putting on the NYX stuff, I usually start with the lighter color. So like there's like a purple and there's a purple and there's a blue, and I often will start with the purple, and then I'll go to blue, and then I'll go to black. So the purple, I'll put that around, and then closer to my eye, I'll put the blue, and then right like at the eyelash lines, I will apply the black. And I will also often apply the black in the corners of my eyes, and I will extend that black into the hollow of my nose.
Okay.
Just to create like a really black point there. And that black point looks really good when it contrasts with the skinny white rectangles that you have above them.
Using for my eyeshadow, I do have some NYX. I'm going to use some of that, but I have the Kristen Dominique palette that came in our BoxyCharm.
Now, if you make a mistake, have you ever started over? Or you're just like, you know what, we're just going to do with it and just go.
You're like, oh, fuck it, we'll just keep going.
Well, I mean, I have. I do make a lot of mistakes when I'm putting on makeup, and I find that Q-tips are very helpful in erasing mistakes. So there is a lot of erasure that goes on when I'm putting on makeup.
I love Q-tips too. I think that's so funny. Like I actually don't. It's so funny when we get to brushes, and we'll talk about that later. I really don't use brushes. I use Q-tips. I use my fingers. I really don't use brushes too much.
I use my fingers too. A lot of times, especially when I'm putting on clown white or some color next to my eyes on the sides of my nose, I will just dip my index finger in the makeup and then just smear it on the inside like that. I mean, it works fine that way.
I feel like it works sometimes better because you can control the pressure better with your own hands.
Yeah, it's true, and you get a better smear. I think it just looks better than a brush sometimes.
1,000%. That's why I like my hands.
It especially works better than a brush if you're putting some kind of cream based makeup there versus like a powder.
Absolutely. Oh my God, this is so fun. We're doing makeup with Ernie Glam. How cool is this?
Although even with powders, I will say that I use this Urban Decay electric palette a lot.
Oh, I love that.
And that I use my fingers with this all the time.
I often go to I think I go through 1 million makeup wipes a month because I often use my fingers. I just feel like I have more control. And then if I go over a line that I didn't mean to, I can just take a Q-tip and I wet the end of the Q-tip with the makeup remover thing. I can't even think. And then I just remove it, and it's super easy. I mean, I feel bad because I've gotten so many brushes in my BoxyCharm. I don't think I've used maybe 2.
I like them for certain things, but you like a lot of people will apply foundation with it, but I like to use the sponges for the foundation, or sometimes I'll use my fingers too.
In general, I use sponges for foundation.
Yes, absolutely.
I will also use sponges for clown white if I'm just putting it around my eyes, just to create a like a white zone for more makeup on top of that.
So do you think you'll ever create like your own? I mean, I know you had a YouTube channel previously, but do you think you'll ever create like a glam Ernie, like doing makeup tutorials and stuff?
No,
not really.
probably not. You know, one of the things, like, why would I do that? You know, like, what's the point of doing it? You know, other than just like sharing what I know with people. That would be one point of doing it. But I mean, like you, I have a day job, and I'm busy, and I'm married, and like I have family obligations, and so all of this stuff is time consuming. When you're trying to be an internet celebrity, it sucks up a lot of time, and
it does.
Time is having done a YouTube show for 5 years, I was relieved when it was over, and because it just gave me back all this time that I was spending on it. And so no, like I don't really want to have any more. I'm working on a documentary right now, and that takes up a lot of my time, but it's not as time consuming as doing a regular YouTube show.
This is true.
I completely get that. I work full time. I'm going for my master's. Plus, I'm doing this. Plus, I run not a support group, but it's called Death Cafe, where people can come and talk about their feelings surrounding death. So on top of that, you have to be dedicated.
I mean, Melissa, I think that what you do is what you just ticked off as doing is great, and everybody should be busy. You just follow your passions and do things that are meaningful to you. But then it just becomes a lot. Like, you know,
it does.
You need so. And then after I did my YouTube show for about 5 years, I just felt like it really wasn't going anywhere. So that was the other reason I wanted to end it. It reached a certain level, and then it just didn't get bigger.
Well, and you know what? And that's okay. It's different for everybody, and everybody has different goals and different things.
Yep.
Like we both work jobs. Myself and my husband have a production company on top of this, as well as many other things. But I think it's all perspective and your end goal for life specifically in general. So I think it's great. I think I love that you're making a documentary.
Thank you. I will like it more when it's done.
Can you share any details about it or not yet?
Yeah, I can. It's a documentary about New York City nightlife and about something that I call personal spectacle, which is what is dressing up and putting on makeup and then going out to clubs and just being, you know, a spectacle. And whether you're on a stage or on a dance floor. And that's what the Club Kids were all about. That's what drag queens are all about. That's what a lot of performers in New York City are about. So that's what the documentary is about.
That's awesome.
Well, when it's done, we'd love to have you on to talk about it. And we
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I don't think it's going to be done for another 2 years, but.
Oh boy.
But you know, it takes time to do this stuff.
Oh yeah. Speaking of documentaries, while we're doing our makeup and you're talking about drag shows, were you inspired by Paris is Burning at all?
I would say no, because I actually already knew some of those people before Paris is Burning came out. Remember, that's about New York and the New York voguing scene. So those people were already familiar to me before that documentary came out. And I was already going to voguing balls before that documentary came out. So I was inspired by the Voguers and their artistry, but not necessarily by that movie because I was already aware of that before the movie came out.
Well, that's really cool. Well, that's great that you were inspired by them specifically, that you were able to be a part of that scene. That was really cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed being a part of it. It was not an easy scene to be a part of because a lot of the people in that scene could be very bitchy and mean.
I couldn't tell.
And I didn't like that. Like, I just didn't like the bitchiness and the meanness. And I understand why they were bitchy and mean because many of them lived very hard lives. And they were very wounded and hurt by the way they had been treated by their families or people in their neighborhoods. So
Sure.
I understand why they were like that, but it still wasn't pleasant to me to necessarily spend a lot of time with those people.
Well, thank you for being so open about that. That's really cool. I don't think the other reason I brought up is I don't think people really understand that the Paris is Burning era was kind of adjacent to the club kids, and you guys stepping out and be like, here we are, we're fabulous, and we're going to be heard. And I don't think people really understand that. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. I'm so glad you answered my question and kind of extended the answer.
I really enjoyed the ball scene. I mean, I actually walked in voguing balls, like in the competitions. Yes. Like serving club kid styles. Yeah. I never won, but but I did walk.
I think that would be awesome. I would walk in one.
We should just have like a club kids ball and just, that should be an event, and we'll have a fashion show.
It's definitely been categories at voguing balls.
Has it really?
I think so. Yeah.
Do they still do voguing balls? I haven't heard of.
Yes, there still are voguing balls.
Oh,
Have you seen the new documentary? Well, I don't know if it's a documentary maybe it's more of like a reality show because they're competing. It's on that new HBO Max, and it's but it's more modernized, I think, now. I've only caught like a little bit of the first episode.
What's the show called?
Oh, I can't think of the name of it.
Okay.
But it is a reality show, and it's all based around the voguing.
No, the only documentary that I saw was the My House documentary. That's kind of recent. That was good, I thought.
Oh, awesome. What's the next step?
All right, so you're done with the stripes. Now the next step is the last step, basically. It's the lipstick. So you are taking the lipstick, and if you had drawn like a rectangle around your lips, similar to the ones that you drew over your eyebrows, you would then take the lipstick and then fill in the rectangle. First you start at the edges and then you work your way in.
Awesome. So I'm using Catsuit Liquid by Wet n Wild Rebel Rose Collection.
I have 3 different ones. Because I couldn't pick what color I wanted, but one's more like a gloss. So I have Jeffree Star in Clout, but it's a little bit on the lighter side. So I might mix it with a little bit of the Rebel Rose Deviant Damsel. We'll see how it goes. I'm just afraid if I put the Jeffree Star one on that it won't come all the way off, and I have a Zoom meeting early in the morning, conference meeting, so trying to explain that in the meeting.
No, I completely understand. Like some of my lipsticks do not come off. I mean, the next day I will have stained lips, and so I do have to be conscious also of what I'm doing the next day.
I also have a Zoom meeting in the morning, and although my boss is extremely liberal and thinks what I do is great, I'm not sure she wants to come on camera looking like Barney and I had a thing.
Yeah, often when I don't put on these types of big makeup looks that often. Maybe I might do it in the winter. I might only do it once or twice a month. And in the summer, I might do it once a week, but usually, like in the winter, it's on weekends, so I don't have to worry about what I'm going to look like the next day because it's Sunday or Saturday. But during the summer, when Suzanne Barsh does her on top parties, well, she's not doing them this summer because of the lockdown, but
Right.
In past summers, those parties are on Tuesday night, so I would often take Wednesdays off just so that I wouldn't have to, so I could stay out late and not have to
Party
worry
with
about
the
having stained face.
That's happened to me a couple times, and I work in the profession of human services. So going into a meeting with, looking like you just kind of, motorboated Crayola, that's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, because some of this makeup is hard to take off. It just doesn't come off.
It's true. Now I have to ask, because they closed when Juliana came in. They closed a lot of the clubs. What clubs now are open that you can be a club kid and be fabulous, and not have to just buy a bottle and be reserved?
There are lots of. Well, I would say that 2019 was a very outrageous and fun year in New York City nightlife, and I would say that it had risen. The level of fun and variety of parties to go to was intense, and I had almost as much fun in 2019 as I did in the early 90s at the height of the club kid scene, because there were just so many good parties. The clubs that I really loved in 2019, none of which are open now, are Elsewhere. That's my favorite nightclub in Brooklyn. It's a beautiful nightclub that is designed to look like the mega clubs of the 80s and 90s of New York. It's very large. And so sometimes there would be club kid parties there. Maybe once a month, Suzanne Barsh would throw a party there. And so the club kids would show up. Another fabulous club that opened, I think it opened in 2019, was this club called Basement, which is in a basement underneath the Knockdown Center, and that's like a techno club, and that club was really, really fun. The club $3 Bill, also in Brooklyn, was extremely fun, and you could definitely dress up like a club kid and go there. And then, of course, Suzanne Barsh's party at the Standard Hotel last year during the summer on top, every Tuesday night was lots of club kids and drag queens going to that party. So yeah, there were a lot of places you could go dressed up.
Do you still see a lot of your old friends from the club kid era in the 90s that party with you today?
No. Usually, I mean, you have to remember that those people are all now in their late 40s or in their 50s, and some of them are in their 60s. So, I mean, not really the club kids. Like, most of the club kids are probably in their late 40s and mid 50s. So that is a demographic that doesn't go to nightclubs a lot. So I do not see them in clubs. The only ones that I ever regularly see out from back then are Amanda Lepore. Okay. And she's probably the one who I see the most. And of course, I'll see Suzanne Barsh because she's still hosting parties. Mm-hmm. So I'll see her. And then I will see, maybe like every once in a while, I'll see some of the old school club kids or drag queens, but they might not be dressed up. I mean, the drag queens might be dressed up, but like the old school club kids, they don't really dress up anymore. Like, pretty much, with the exception of Astro Earl and maybe Richie Rich, the others don't dress up.
Well, hey, you know what? Times change, But
times change. For a while I didn't dress up. Like in the aughts, I was focused on my journalism career, so I didn't really go out that much or dress up that much. But then after the Great Recession, or when the Great Recession hit, I thought I was going to lose my job, and then I got a pay cut, and then it kind of like woke me up and made me realize, like, why am I devoting myself to a career that I could just lose, at any time during a recession? And it's not even something that, I mean, I loved journalism and it was a profession that I enjoyed doing, but it wasn't what I loved. Like, what I love was going to nightclubs and dressing up. So then I just said, well, fuck that. I'm just going to go back to going to nightclubs and dressing up again, because that's what I really love. So I may as well just do what I love. Mm-hmm. And even if I'm not, thank you, even though I'm not getting paid or I don't make any money from it, it doesn't matter. Like, that's what the day job's for. So I just decided that I would just keep dressing up. And, there's always those people that will say to you, well, why don't you get over that? Or you're too old to be doing that. But I don't think that, I don't hear people saying that to Amanda Lepore.
Yeah.
So if nobody's saying that to her, then I'm going to do it too.
And that's one of our things that we're passionate about, and we like to share with our viewers, is that makeup has no boundaries. It has no age limits. You can be as creative. Like Tiffany and I are both over 40, and if we want to wear glitter on our eyes, why not if it makes us feel good? And so that's what we try to share with our viewers, that makeup is fun. It should be fun.
And freeing. It's expressive.
Yeah.
It is fun. So I have a lot of fun with it, and I'm just not going to stop having fun. Nobody tells RuPaul that she's too old to be a drag queen, so.
Exactly.
We're never, you know what? You're never too old until literally you can't even move your hands to do it.
Right.
So I think
then
I'll be doing it.
So should we put on our headdresses?
Yes. So now it's time for your headdress.
Okay. So I in an old club kid fashion, what's the word I'm looking for? God, I can't remember.
You created your headdress.
I did. I created my headdress on a whim. It's got a sugar skull on it. Let's see if it'll stay. There we go.
I brought
Okay.
skull. Oh, that's
Okay, cool.
good.
Cool.
The other thing I brought, which is not anything related to skulls, but it just makes me feel really happy, is I brought my party hat. So I thought,
cool. Yes. Put it on.
My party hat.
Not only is this a great headband, but I'm getting a facelift because it's so tight. I feel like I'm getting 2 in 1. This is fabulous.
Now for the neck, for that witch doctor look that I sent you, around the neck, I'm wearing a feather boa. So like if you could put a black or a white feather boa there.
I have.
Okay.
I don't have a boa. I have a cat who is not going to be very cooperative. So
now, if you don't have a headband, like you could do a bandana, or you could do, or if you just don't want to wear a headband, then what I would recommend for this look is that you just paint something on your forehead. Like maybe paint another stripe or a line, or just like to fill out that space. Because one of the reasons I didn't put any makeup up there is because I had that big headband and then I had that chicken skull in the middle of it, and. But ordinarily, if I weren't wearing a headband, then I would be I'd be painting there.
I also brought rhinestones, but I didn't know if we'd have time, so I thought if I would do rhinestones too.
Yes, I would do those. I love those. Are those the stick-on kind of rhinestones?
Yep, adhesive gemstones.
Yeah, I love those because those really do stay on all night. Like
they do.
Like some of the brands are very adhesive, and you can sometimes reuse them too. Like if you have spirit gum or eyelash glue, you could just like dab a little on.
Sometimes I use a little eyelash glue.
Yeah, they'll stay on. You could reuse them.
What'd be fun is if you did this look and then you took the rhinestones and you outlined where this
is. Oh, that would be cool.
So fun.
Cool.
You could totally do that. So this look is pretty versatile. You could add to it.
I think that's what I love about not just the club kids, but makeup in general. It is versatile. It is creative. Really the sky's the limit. You've shown us this look, but that doesn't mean for Halloween, we can't take this look and then do something of our own with it. It's a great base for this look and then maybe other looks, which that's what we love about makeup. And that's why we are doing the YouTube show that, makeup doesn't have to be stereotyped. It doesn't have to be pigeonholed. You can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to just be like pretty eyes, and that's it.
No, but this is so fun. I love this look. This is great. Did we do you proud?
Yes. Thank you. I'm honored that you would want to copy it.
Well, of course, like I said, I've been fanning. I'm not going to be shy about it. I've been fanning out all week. Well, for the past 2 weeks, I was extremely excited when you messaged me back. I was extremely excited when you even agreed to come on our show, because even though I had a podcast before, the YouTube channel was new. And I just, like I said, I know there's a lot of club kids. I know there's some that, like RuPaul and stuff are kind of mainstream, but you are always my favorite. You always seem so much more approachable, more fun, more outgoing, and a little more creative. And I just loved that about you because I watched you when I was really, really young, all these TV shows and stuff like that. So it was a great moment for me personally when you were like, sure. I'm like, no way. Am I on drugs? Is this happening? Oh my God. So thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for, following us. I'm glad that you were inspired.
Oh my gosh, all the time. Like I had a Halloween wedding. Well, my first marriage was a Halloween wedding. And I was you got, I wanted something like that, but my ex-husband didn't want club kids. So I'm like, well, let's do Halloween. And he was like, that I can do. So, I mean, it really is like, and we are in the field, like we're in the horror, we're in the paranormal, which this kind of goes hand in hand, because, the sky's the limit and anything is possible. And you can buy chicken bones on the table at a paranormal and horror event, and nobody thinks anything of it. No one's going to call the police and be like, there's a serial killer here.
That's a
true.
very accepting community.
It really is. That's awesome. So is there anything else you wanted to share with us? Anything?
Oh, just remember to wash your brushes afterwards. I have an eye infection right now, which is why I didn't do it with you. But I do that every time I use a brush. And I can't stress how important that is, because otherwise, like if you're prone to eye infections like I am, it could really screw you up.
Oh, well, we hope that feels better. We're really sorry about that. But
it's getting better.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you decided to come on anyway. That was really awesome of you. Probably isn't the most comfortable thing, but thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was great meeting both of you.
I think I'm going to go over to my parents' house dressed like this.
I'm going to stop because people will stay away from me. They'd be like, that's right, I'm a witch doctor. Back the fuck up. So hold tight, Ernie. I just want to thank everybody for joining us. We're going to try to put the video up. They're actually kind of funky. It's technical issues. But I want to thank you so much again, Ernie, for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, and comment, and share.
Give us a thumbs up. It helps our channel.
Positive or negative feedback is fine. If you want to be the amazing comment of the day, you can. If you want to be the asshat comment of the day, you can also do that. But we'll just make fun of you because that's what we do. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you again, Ernie, so much.
Yes, thank you.
My pleasure. Goodbye.
Wait, bye. What? So everybody remember, spread love, not hate. We're all equal. And love is love is love. Bye, everybody.
Bye.